Braveass.
Let me know their desires, their fantasies, their dreams, and I'm not shy to ask what they want of me. Click here. You dirty.
I doubt it. Why would a woman like that need to do that?
Yeah, exactly, innit?
Why would she need to advertise
The people do
herself
believe
in
it.
that way?
What I was able to get a hug from you.
They're illiterate fools.
My favourite ones are the ones where they because they don't know what sort of names are good in like the English language. It's a girl called Jacob. Yeah? Jacob.
You want to see
What's
my
your missus
cock?
called? Jacob.
What's your missus called? Jacob.
Fucking stupid. Is there a man who needs an appointment with a woman tonight? I would like date. Put on your love.
I like.
Oh, fucking put your pants on.
What man says that? Put your pants on.
But she's just like, oh, I'm just chilling on the couch.
Just chilling on the couch with my arse hanging out.
Pants. Fuck me.
Nobody really does that in real life.
Oh, she might be real, this one. Oh, God, that's funny.
Especially if you've got a cat or a dog. Because
Putting tears in my eyes because it makes me laugh so much.
So why have you got all? Why do they keep coming to you, Graham? Because of your hotness.
No, I don't never delete them because I find it really funny to go through them all the time.
I love her bikini.
Hi, my photos are real. I'm an open-minded woman. That's my personal place. My measurements are natural 40DD big butt.
What does that even mean? What an absolute fool!
And there's just this old dude that's had me called Graham Weeks. He messaged me once and said, we got a similar name. I was like, oh, cheers, bud.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Right, tell me more about. This is completely foreign to me.
Yeah.
But in your words, Jippo life.
Yeah, Jippo life. Oh my God! I'll tell you something. Do you mind,
do.
Graham? When I was in the first caravan I lived in was really small, really not very nice. We did well. We tried our best to make it homely, but we never had no bath in there, obviously because it's a caravan, and the shower. We were too young at the time to really use the shower. So
What? How are you? Fuck me.
No.
How are you too young to use
It was so small, Graham.
Just a little wet wipe round the armpits and we're good to go, we were.
Horse bath.
Exactly.
We were
Gentleman's wash.
the shower was really small, and Mum, it was just we were quite young at the time, so Mum bought a tin bath, or if she found one in the shed somewhere, and
Found it.
so we used to have a tin bath in the middle of the kitchen, and this is how and the bottom was quite rusted.
Victorian times.
Yeah, it was.
We'd boil
It
a
was.
kettle on the fire. And
Yeah,
then
it was horrible.
Father go first, and then all the children.
It's just there's a black X on the door.
But it was tiny. Oh, you two don't know the struggle, honestly.
The struggle is real.
Struggle is real. And because it was slightly rusty,
life.
I'd be like, no, Mum, not the ass grater again.
What?
Right, so you can't. I'm zoned on this. So you've got. There's no bath.
No, the shower's not really usable. Mum and Dad go to the. There wasn't actually.
So they're hosing you down. What? There's one bath.
A tin bath which is movable. It's just a little tin bath that she would put in the middle of the kitchen floor and fill with tepid water and fairy liquid, basically. Right, and in the end, because it was
Smoothest
so,
child in town.
my arse
Fairy
was in
liquid
bits.
though. That must be Christmas or
Your
something.
tits off my elbow.
Fairy liquid though. That's for best.
Yeah, for Beth. When she wanted to shine me up.
Happy shopper washing up
slippery
liquid
as
on
fuck,
a
wouldn't you?
on a normal Wednesday.
It's like, got a wedding tomorrow, get the liquid out. So in the end, my ass was in bits.
What's the ass data?
My ass was in bits.
But it's rusty on the bottom. It was slightly rusty. At this point, Mum was really careful with her money, so she didn't want. So she just got a flannel. Yeah, she got a flannel, and in the end, we had like ass flannels. So she
Another one of your catchphrases, ass funnel. There we go.
You're in a tin bath that's rusting through.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and then, but she did. We didn't have a lot of money at the time, and at least she made sure we were clean. And
It's like a kid sheep dip.
That's exactly what
My
I'm
grandpa-
imagining the pool actually was. You know?
my grandpa
The pool
fell in the
bath.
sheep dip and got really poorly.
Come on to that.
That's so sincere.
Tell me about bath night.
So then, me and my brother used to share the tin bath at one point because we were both so small. If you had your knees under your chin, you could both get in.
How old are you at this point?
Oh, God, we were only small then. I would have been about, 4, and he'd have been about 2. So we were only little kids.
Right.
But then I lived in that caravan until I was 8. So when I was 8, I was bathing alone. But I was still in this tin bath. It was horrible, really. But and in the farmhouse where Gran and Grandpa were dwelling at the time, there wasn't an indoor bathroom, you know. So it was quite old school, really. So yeah,
It was just a hole in the back garden, was it?
yeah, I never
Windbreak
really
round
knew
it.
any different. I never knew any different. And then when I moved to the new shower van, which is a cross between a chalet and a caravan, I thought I was in luxury because it's a big old shower.
If you ever do well at comedy, you would fucking smash I'm a Celebrity out, like getting out of here.
Can you imagine?
Smash it, you would. Be like, you think this is fucking harsh? We had a cheap ass grader fucking bath, right?
You'd have built like a whole thing. You'd have you'd have bridges.
I'd be well at home,
and
I'd be well at home.
houses
And I can remember Mum being like, because in the end, we were growing as children do. So my brother was still in the caravan bit. Mother and father used to sleep in the front room on a pull-out futon, and they built on a shed onto the side of the caravan for me to sleep in. And I'd wake up and there was mouse shits everywhere. But Mum tried to convince me for ages they were raisins or something. And I was like, but Mother, I can hear it. I'm sure I can hear a mouse scrabbling. Now you're imagining they're raisins. I said, well, who's buying fucking raisins?
Raisin
I
tree.
know. No wonder I had mental health issues.
The raisin fairy come in the night, my dear.
I had nightmares about a raisin fairy. It was
Just imagine
horrible.
someone. I'm going to do this to someone. I'm just going to drop raisins on their floor every day.
Fucking Sandman. I was scared of Sandman. I literally thought there was like someone who poured sand in their eyes.
Well, you would be afraid, wouldn't you? Yeah, it's not a nice thing, is
My
it?
brother used to wind me up and said, because I was scared of the dark till I was quite old.
Yeah.
Not like
Now.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But like older, like it's 5, 6.
Yeah.
But he'd say, if you want me to do something, just sleep in the same room in separate beds, in like twin beds, and would share a room to like whatever age. And he'd always say, if you wanted to get me up, like going up and drink water or something.
Yeah.
I was like his slave because he'd threaten me with, "Oh, the night will get you." Oh. And I imagine this big night because I'd seen.
Yeah, of course.
I'd seen Mr. Ben.
Yeah.
Where there's the knights on horseback, and there's this big knight with the, the helmet and the.
And he frightened you so you would get his water for
bastard.
it.
Yeah.
What a bastard.
Older siblings can be like that.
I'd started a bit of this with I wanted to know more about Jippo life, and I heard that there was mouse. Did you ever eat the raisins?
No, I never tested it. I sniffed them. I was
They
like,
didn't smell like raisins.
It's not raisins. It was quite. I mean, I was only young, but they were quite blatantly not raisins. And Mum, I felt deceived. And my brother kept a rat in a bucket under.
That's probably what the fuck we're shitting, isn't it?
We lived on a farm, and I didn't know till later in life that my Auntie Vicky came down. I was like, "Do you remember your brother's rat?" And I was like, "No." She apparently kept a dead rat under a bucket in the shed.
What's wrong
And
with you guys?
he would check on
Literally,
it.
get out. Like, that's just
Oh, it was a pet rat.
No. Because we live on a farm, we had rats, and it just.
He kept a dead one.
Yeah, but do you not remember as a child being fascinated by poo and death? It was just.
I don't remember that programme. Poe and Death.
No,
Starring
man,
Danny
not
Dyer and
And
John
he used to
Travolta, I
poke
was
it
going
with
to
a
say.
stick, and he kept it to himself, and then he felt he could confide in my Auntie Vicky, and he was like, "I've got a secret, come and see." And she thought he was going to show her a den or something really cool, and it was this dead rat, and he'd been checking on its
That you
progress.
pokes for fun.
He did, yeah. Yeah.
Progress. Oh, well, did he decomposing of it? or something?
Decomposing, yeah. He found that really interesting.
Is he in prison or anything now?
No, he's fine. He's a builder. He's been.
Buries them under the patio.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking Brookside all over again, isn't
We
it?
were really just fascinated by anything as kids, anything. What is that? You dig up your hamster, don't you, when it dies? Things like that.
No, we don't. I don't dig up
Did you
any dead
not?
animals. I don't dig up anything dead, really.
Oh, I was fascinated. I was like, but
Our,
it's
our goldfish died, and I'd had a nap, and they buried him.
My goldfish died, and I left it in there for fucking about 3 months, and then I flushed it down the toilet.
so bad.
Oh, it's my room smell anyway, mate. That's about.
My cousin Ed froze his and kept it in the freezer. He still brings it out.
I once caught a dogfish, right? When I was fishing off Mevagizzy Harbour.
Yeah.
And I caught this dogfish, and I took it home, and for some bizarre reason, with me and my mate Saul, took it for a walk on a lead around the block. He's got it on video somewhere. I'm about 13, walking a dogfish, going, "Come on." Flicking a little bit. So weird. It just reminded me of that. I don't know
But I
why.
love that about kids. You just do the craziest, stupid
I will
thing.
dig it up definitely. Do you remember? I was wanking off a ghost once, and just like this is what your stories are like. Just come out with fucking anything.
No, I found a porno mag once. When we
Was it in a hedge?
no, what happened
Oh, I
was
missed that.
I always knew of them as like you go into the forest.
yeah,
or
and
a
they
hedge.
discard them. We don't get that now because it's all on. Sorry, all on the internet, so you don't have that beauty of discovering it.
It was amazing.
That's your eye opener, isn't it? Because I can remember it was at a friend's place. They were clearing out. They were moving house, and there was a chest of drawers and everything, and we were all just mucking about, and it was in the chest of drawers. Oh wow, this is amazing! And I hid it in a badger set because I didn't want anyone to find it, but I wanted to be able to find it and like be like, oh my god, look at this giant.
What was in it?
Giant purple-headed. It was absolute, and it was real filth. It wasn't like it was really great.
So you found it. You hid it. You
Hid it, and then because we live in a farm, so we walked across the valley with it, took it back. We had
like the Lord of the fucking Rings.
Well, I kept it.
To throw it in a volcano.
We had a
go
den
on a
up a
quest.
tree, and there was a bloody badger set right by our den. So I just stuffed it down there, thought no more of it. We did retrieve it a couple of times and look at it again. Then
How
the
did you feel
badger
when you
took
found
it.
I was going to
badger
imagine her walking in on a badger, just like stroking one up.
But no, he made a dirty nest out of it. He shredded it and made a dirty nest.
Animals are filthy farthing
Yeah.
wood.
Imagine someone finding that and just being like, fucking badger there, and fucking hell. He's lying on a dick.
Where's he got that? Where's he got that?
Dirty bastard.
Yeah.
You'd return to it, and you'd what, just stare. Were you confused?
I would bring different friends to it.
And you'd-
Like
like a shrine. Would you from yourself? Would you just?
pardon? Would I what?
Would you from yourself? Would you just look?
Oh,
at it?
from myself. No, it was more of a curiosity thing because I was very naive as a child, and I had never really. No, I was just like I couldn't believe what I was seeing, and I would say to my friends, "Come on, let's go and play at the den," and I'd bring that beauty out. I was like, "Have you seen this?" Yeah, that was unbelievable. Well, I went to a friend's
You should have
house
taken
once.
Sarah. She would have probably.
Well, a friend of mine brought one to school in this bag. Had this because he was a rough kid. Had a.
Yeah. Are you saying all rough kids hide pornos in?
I mean,
They're the one you get it from.
I'm
That's
noticing.
the one you get it from.
I'm noticing the theme, but yeah, he brought in. It made him like a celebrity at school for that.
Yeah.
I had one. My mate Jimmy. He's down in prison. Good guy. He once goes. If you want a porno, I can get one.
Oh.
Because he can get anything. Like one of those guys. He was the guy that used to sell sweets. Like we've gone out of date, but somehow we managed to get it. I found out he was getting it from the skip behind WH Smith. I used to get because they used to throw all the magazines and stuff in there, and then like there'd be pornos as well and stuff like that. So we did all this, and he used to sell them. It'd be a rip off as well. It'd say like $3.95 clear on the front. You charge you a $5, and you're like fuck off. But you can't get it from anywhere. In the end, anyway, you got outbid by the ice cream man. But he ended up getting done as well because he was selling cigarettes to like 8-year-olds and shit. Yeah.
my God.
I think he was a pedo or something. But anyway, so Jimmy goes, if you want one, I'll get you one.
So how old are you at this point? How old
I
are
would have been about 12, 13, something like that.
And he's the same age.
Yeah, same age, same year. And I go, all right, how much? And he goes, £2.50. So I was like, okay, cool. So he comes and brings it to me, and I put it in the thing. It's the oldest, weirdest thing I've ever seen. And the film, when the titles came out, it was called Piss Addicts.
Oh.
And it was fucking rank.
So he was getting some dodgy like.
And it was stuff. It's sort of the stuff that you would throw out
This is a
solely
video
because
I just knew magazines like dog-eared, like they sold them for dads. Or something.
Oh yeah, well he sold those sort of things as well, and we used to go down to Hilly Woods, and there'd be like across from the river where no one would walk on that side. There'd be like this little den thing he's made, and there'd be all just
this
basically.
kid's an
full of
entrepreneur.
It was really good.
And that boy was Alan Sugar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Mahatma Gandhi.
Den. Oh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he used to do that sort of thing. He was a dodgy wheeler dealer type guy, but
See, I was quite trusting as a child, and there was this kid who he made up all these stories about the local shop near him that just sounded like this kind of Aladdin's cave of filth. Because he said, because I was going to go around to his house in a few weeks, and he said, oh, this local shop I go to, I get all this porn from. And he said, we were in primary school, so we were probably like year 4.
Oh my God.
Year 4, 5. and he says, "Oh yeah, I'll show you this shop." And he says they've got all these stick-on dicks and stick-on fannies that they just sell. That I hook, line, and sinker believed there was just a corner shop,
Yeah.
like
So stick-on
a
cocks.
Bobby's, that they'd sell like all the snacks and the pot
Chops.
noodles, and then you'd go into this like curtain through the back, and there'd be this kind of Aladdin's cave of filth.
And he took you back there.
He completely I completely believe this.
Yeah.
But then conveniently, because he said he bought a load of these like stick-on. I mean, they exist now. I know they exist because of the internet. But I don't know if they did at that point. He said that he had all these, but then he said like the week before I was going to go around to his house, and he was.
Oh, it's closed.
He said, "Oh yeah, I had all these, but my mum found them and she locked them in the shed."
It's like jail every school for the in-betweeners, but like a young version of him.
Properly was. Yeah, right.
Mate,
I was around his house and we had boiled hot dogs from a tin. I sound like I'm a classist, but he was like proper on the estate.
Mate,
so this was all new to me. This was they're well good. But then he starts talking back to his mum, and she tells him like, "Are you gonna come inside?" And he's like, "No, we're sitting outside on the white plastic
Outdoor
picnic table,
furniture.
outdoor furniture." And he starts getting upset. He says, "Oh no, I'm not going inside," because he's been talking back to her, and if he goes inside, she's going to wash his mouth out with soap. Literally make him take a bite of soap.
And eat it.
Yeah, and like wash it spit it out. Yeah,
She had hard times.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, he brought her knives to school and threatened his mate. So
Yeah.
we had some proper class. Most of my mates are in prison. Literally,
Yeah.
I don't know how I avoided it. Probably because I didn't do anything wrong. But that's how it works, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really weird. Because I was going through like a list of them. They've all been away, and they've all done some pretty harsh stuff. And one of them's done something ridiculously harsh.
Worse than Peter.
Two of them, in fact, have actually done
There's anything
something.
worse than that.
I don't. It's not really a podcast thing. It's pretty fucking harsh.
Yeah.
I've got one friend who's in there for murder as well. And they were all nice people when I was at school, do you know? Like,
Yeah, but you
took the
you
wrong
don't
path,
know. I
that
mean,
sort of thing.
who's going to turn out how? Do you? It's,
I mean, the thing is, there's all these crims, right? And they're in your circle.
yeah,
They've got one thing in common. Do you ever think that you might turn
comment
people
on
to
it.
crime?
yeah.
Well, I kind of, when I was about 14, I took up bodyboarding, surfing and stuff, and I joined like the surf licensing club and stuff, and they ended up doing skateboarding, which I couldn't do because I've got a bad joint problem and so on. So they kind of went down the skate.
Smoked a reefer.
You know. So they did the skating side of things, and they were kind of like street rats, if you know what I mean. And they ended up doing a bit. If they were wrecking stuff, they got in trouble with the police and stuff then because they were skating when they weren't supposed to be skating stuff. Whereas I'm in the ocean, you know what I mean. And it's a lot more chilled and nice and stuff like that. So they kind of, I guess that's where we kind of grew apart, if you know what I mean.
Which is probably for the best.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, so there's some really fucking harsh shit that they've done. It's pretty dodge.
Just got a great thing for your joint problem.
Is this one of your sounds?
Is it going to work? What the fuck remix is that? God. Who made that remix? Martin Garrix.
Martin Garrix. My friends aren't criminals, but you remember that because I told you, didn't I, that I had a friend and I don't know what's happened. I think I've had a stroke. Sorry.
You smell bad toast or something.
And I went round to her house, and bless her, she was, well, I don't say bless her, she ended up stealing off me, she was a bitch, but she lived in a real hovel. It was really nasty, and it was like that level of dirt you were afraid to eat there. Well, her bedroom was really, really cluttered, and in the middle bit was a tiny little bit of floor space where I would sleep when I was a sleepover, and she had her bed, and she had pet rats, not dead rats, pet rats in a cage right next to where I would sleep, and they'd have the sawdust and all that shizzle. And I kid you not, I went round there, this was when we were in secondary school, she put on, again we're back to sex, I'm sorry, but she put on a porn video that was her brother's, and I was like, okay, she's curious.
Her brother in a porno?
No, but it was her brother's video, and she was curious to watch it, and I was like, okay, so we watched this porn video, and what do? You can't really chat with some hobnobs about it. Oh, I like this bit, you know, this bit's really good, wait and see what happens. But anyway, she
They do all end the same, pretty much, don't they?
she broke out she had a...
There's never clickbait porn, is there? Like,
Mind you, I don't think I've ever watched one to the end. But anyway, carry on. Never
she
got
had
that
a dodo, and she broke.
far.
She bought it out. She got it out, And I remember now it had a red knob on it and everything like that. You turned it on. It was a black one and it had a red knob on it. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, what's she going to do? And she offered me a go on it. She said, do you want to go? And I said, what do you mean?
Was she like deal doing herself?
Well, she was later because I said, no, you're all right, thanks. Like you declined a bit of cake or something. No, I'm fine for that.
Nah, you fill your boots.
I had some late earlier, it's fine. Anyway, so I was like, I need to go to sleep now. She goes, I don't go to sleep yet. And I was like, shh, I'm asleep. Oh, and she continued, and she did, while I was in the room, not really asleep. And she goes, are you asleep now? I was like, like this. And she went on, and I kept peeping and looking at her foot, and when it kind of went rigid and dumb, and I was like, oh, it's over, praise Jesus. And all that time, when I'd been snoring loudly, her rodents had been scrabbling sawdust over me, and I was inhaling like rat sawdust while my friend it was so disturbing. It was horrible.
Mate, that is odd.
A friend of mine,
worst thing ever.
We'd gone out to we got a night out. We were like probably 15, and we'd met some girls as well, but that hadn't gotten to plan, so we'd just gone back to his empty-handed, unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
So we were a bit tipsy. He was a bit tipsier, and he was clearly really randied up. And he wanted to
Randied up.
He wanted to relieve himself in that way, in that fashion.
No.
So he's on his bed, and similar setup. I was lying on the camp bed, came on and was like next to him, and but I was like a few feet off the floor. He was like on the full bed, and he wanted to.
Did he do it?
But he asked me because he said he liked a lot of wetness, and he was dehydrated from the alcohol.
Yeah.
And he said, "Will you spit in my hand?"
Fuck me. Well, don't. I mean, but
So he could get the. And
No.
I drew the line at that.
No,
did
really?
you?
Did you?
fucking just get some soap or something. I don't know.
Why would you ask your friend to do that? But I mean, I can totally believe it because of what happened to me. It's like some people, they have no boundaries. My friend took me to see her puppies, remember? But she lived on a farm and her dog had her litter of puppies, and we went out to see them, and we got to the shed and the puppies were really nice and cute and la-di-da. And next thing I look over and there was a wall, like, because we were in the farm shed, but it was a rounded mat wall, and she had straddled it and she was kind of going back and forward, but I don't think she knew why, but she's going, it feels really nice, you should try it. She was trying to get me on the wall, but it's at that age, it's like, she was just at that age where I think it was happening. She was getting, I wasn't there yet, so to me I was like, that's not normal. I didn't join her on the wall, but
it was a sensation. She
yeah,
it was,
and it's fair enough, and that's fine, but I was just happy to just stroke the puppies and let her carry on. It was all fine. But
meaning the dogs, not you were
getting
her off on the boobies.
But it was quite like I know it's, people probably don't think it is, but for me, I know it's quite a commonplace thing. People would talk about it when I was in school. Girls would talk about it quite openly, that they discovered masturbation and things, and there was no sort of secretiveness, which maybe is a good thing. I don't know, but don't do that in the room when someone's in the room. If they haven't given the consent, you need to consent.
To be honest, don't fuck a wall. Like, that should be a lesson, shouldn't it? Like, who's fucking a wall? I've never fucked a wall.
Oh, come on.
I remember fucking, actually, mum runs these youth club things. And it's like, so they have like different sections. They have a younger section, and then you have ones that are sort of like teenagers and so on like that. And I remember everyone went outside to go play football, and this one kid, I won't mention his name, he might come up later in another story though, so you all know who it is.
Let's call him Andrew.
Yeah, so Andrew, right? He didn't go outside. I came in to go check on him because I thought he was in there's like a games room where he had like Master Systems and stuff. It was back then, and there was a little hole in the sofa, and he was fucking it. And he didn't stop, and I was like, what are you doing? And he basically just said, I'm fucking a sofa. And I was like, well, he didn't lie, so
Like a dog.
carry on, but other people have to sit there, I was just a bit like...
It's awkward though, isn't
weird.
it? Where'd you look? What'd you do?
It's so weird. I was just like, oh, fuck. That's weird. Why the fuck's this?
Oh yeah, in public as well.
Yeah, well, there's no one in there, apart obviously for me. I didn't obviously stop around and wait for him to finish or anything. It was just such an odd
thing.
But he's one of those kids, like you said, like those type of kids.
Yeah.
There's another kid, same kid really. But yeah, his name's actually Peter. Fuck him, right? He's a complete prick. This is just giving an example of the level of stupidity we're talking about, and I'll give you a nice impression of him as well. He goes to me, Graham, can I borrow your goalie gloves, please, mate? Because he wanted my goalie gloves. I thought, yeah, well, you might as well. I've got new goalie gloves, but you can borrow them. There's no problem if you're going to go play football and play in goal. So, trust me, no problem, Paul. And about a day later, he comes back, and all the fingers are cut off the end. I go, what the fuck have you done with these? And he goes, I thought you wanted motorbike gloves. I said, I don't have a motorbike. I'm 14. And he goes, oh, sorry, buddy. And then gave me back the ends. What are you going to do? Just sew them on? Fucking penis. 15 quid worth of Sondicos they were, mate. Gutting.
They cut the end off you.
Yeah.
Like he'd done you a favour.
He thought he was doing me a favour because he borrowed them to cut the ends off to give me motorbike gloves. Like he was giving me a gift of my own thing. I already had the thing I wanted, and now I've got a thing I don't want because he's a fucking spud. He also went to prison at one point for arson. He tried to burn a house down and locked himself inside the house and had to call the fire brigade on himself.
Embarrassing. How embarrassing.
That's the level that he's at.
That's mental.
Yeah. So that's they're clever family.
It's bad enough to do the whole arson thing, but to get it wrong as well is really embarrassing, isn't
He
it?
is a bit funny. I kind of still quite like him when I see him. He's quite funny because he's that.
Yeah.
I just remember these stupid things he did, and I kind of because I've forgiven him. Obviously,
It's like
those
nostalgia,
things.
isn't
It's just I look at him and I kind of it's really wrong, but I look at him and I just think, just you laugh. He was like, you were such a twat. I like you. It's good. It makes you feel better, doesn't it, when someone's that much of a dickhead?
That's why I watch Jeremy Kyle.
I love it. Yeah, fucking love it.
I always feel better, or I'll Google ugly grunters or something if I feel really unattractive and I know it's a really horrible, sad thing to do, but if I feel really low self-esteem wise, the internet's great for that.
I genuinely think Gary, my housemate's going to end up on Jeremy Kyle at some point.
But
surprised
he lives with you, but he's got a wife.
No, he's been divorced twice by the same woman. He's got 7 kids as well.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
He's got 7 kids. He doesn't know all of their birthdays or anything. He doesn't visit any of them. He had only one of them that he sort of knows and stuff. It's a bit bad. I'll tell you, it's quite a funny thing. I found it funny. He hated me for this. But he cooked a meal, the chicken curry thing he had made up, and it was actually really, really nice. I went, this is really nice. He goes, yeah, I'm not too bad at cooking. You forget that I've got 7 kids. I said, no, I think it's you. He fucking hated. He stormed off out the room.
Oh, did he?
I was Luke's in the back fucking crying with laughter because I completely shut him down like that.
Well, it's because you're right. People hate it when you're right, don't they? They absolutely hate it when
He's
you're right.
just a fucking walking disaster.
Yeah. Does he have teeth?
He does have teeth. Yeah.
They're left because sometimes alcoholics they lose their teeth. Don't they?
He's all right. I mean, I think he looks after them all right.
I mean, is he a functioning alcoholic? Has he got?
He's got a job. He's got 2 jobs.
2 jobs.
But they're like the basic bitches. He's the basic, the basic type low. He's doing the one job that anyone could do. Anyone could do it. Any level of person. It's a sort of job that, as well, if you do community service, you'll be working with him.
Right, yeah.
So he does picking up litter and locking up toilets, which he gets wrong quite often.
He locked himself inside.
No, he did. No, what he did, he went into so they're disabled. There's 2 sets of keys. You've got one that completely locks the disables, and none of those keys that people get for the disables will work until he unlocks them again. Right. And then you've got the one where everyone can just go. You have to have a key to get in. So he's got the master.
So disabled toilets, you have to have.
You have to have a key now to do it. So you have to have a key. So you have to prove that you're disabled to be able to use it. So you go in and you use that key. But he has the override key that locks him up at night, so no one can use them then.
Oh. So that's a lot of power. In a strange way, that's like the nuclear code.
But the thing is, the door. As soon as
him and another person.
I don't know if it's there. That level.
Both put a key in and turn at the same time.
But he, as soon as you close the door, it locks because that's how often you have to have a key to open it again.
Right.
Gary was busting for the toilet and he went in there and locked the keys inside and he had to phone around all these people. This is about 10:30 at night, and he phoned someone who then phoned their 85-year-old grandma who drove out from St Agnes and came up with a Zimmer frame and handed him a toilet key so that he could get his keys to do it. That level, he even got that job wrong.
That is bad.
The simpleness of this job is you put a key in a lock and you lock the door. And he couldn't do that.
Poor bugger.
Can he care for himself? Does he
No,
shop and cook and
no, I do.
Clean.
Me and Luke do it. We do all the cooking and cleaning. I do his fucking ironing and washing most of the time. I clean all the house. I do the floors. Luke does it as well. I do the washing up and stuff like that. I think I told you earlier, when he cut his knee drunk and he cut his leg, it was bleeding. And he comes in and he goes, "I've cut my knee," like a little child. "Oh, cut my knee. It's not very. It hurts." And Luke goes, Luke goes, "Okay, come on then into the kitchen." And he sits him down on the seat. He goes, "Okay, look, I'm going to put this on your knee. It might sting a little bit." And he goes, "Okay." And then he's like, "Do you want to bite on a spoon?" He's like, "Yeah, okay." And he's like biting on a wooden spoon, and he dabs this like, I don't know, is it TCP or that sort of stuff you get in the first aid kits? You know, the stuff that sort of makes
smelly stuff.
I don't know what it's called.
Antiseptic.
Antiseptic stuff. So he dabs it on. And he goes, "Oh no!" And he's like, like this. And he goes, "I know. Don't just bite down on the stick." And he's going like, literally, this is a 46-year-old man, and he's now he's got blood. He goes, "That's not too bad. It's all cleaned out the wound now. I'm going to put a plaster on it, okay?" And he goes, "Okay, then no problem." And he puts a plaster on his knee and like taps the side of the knee when he's finished. He goes, "Up your hop," like literally like that, because he was doing it to try and make me laugh as well. And he goes, "Oh, thanks, bruv, thanks. I thought it was really bad."
So do you think he just needs love?
Oh, mate, he's desperate, but he's just so...
Yeah.
The last girlfriend he had, do you remember the mum from the Goonies, the one that was Sloth's mum?
Like
She's like a cross between Danny DeVito and a pile of shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's weird man-facey woman thing.
Yeah.
That's what his actual
like Sam Kinison.
Yeah. Cross between Rocky Dennis. No, but she, that's like, he goes for anything that will have him.
Yeah.
Whereas I keep saying to him, if you don't do that, because people will see you with them and you're guilty by association with those, because he hangs out with tramps and stuff like that, you know. He sits down and you'll see him sat down and people are chucking money at them and he's like, he's got a full-time fucking job. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And we tell him to stay away from him, but he literally sits there and he's kissed a couple of tramps. There's one that we call Queen Tramp, because he's so desperate.
Yeah, he's got no sort of standards.
What do you think you're going to do if you get with that person? Do you know what I mean? She's the one that was caught having sex in a tent outside of NatWest in the daytime.
Was this in Truro? Where they were all camping outside NatWest?
And then she was one that did the shit in the corner and got arrested and all that. He kissed it. She's just like, what's wrong with him? But yeah, so he does things like that. I mean, I've told you as well. This is another thing. This is another example of him being a child. We were out walking the dogs, and Gary like tripped and put his hands down, and he fell in some shit, and he got poo in his hands. But instead of going to wash it off in the river or wipe it down with a bit of tissue, he came walking over to us with his hands up, going, "Oh, poo." And we had to get wet wipes and wipe his hands clean.
Oh, no.
And it's like, all better now. It's like, "Oh, thanks, guys." But
he really can't.
see, it sounds like
I love the image of someone. He just sits down and attracts other homeless looking people, and they like throw money at him.
But I mean, the thing is, though, it sounds like he's got some sort of mental age problem or something like that. It does sound like, but I don't think it's just that he didn't want. He can do stuff, and he's fine. I mean, he hasn't learnt to read because he didn't bother in school and stuff, things like that. But we're teaching him now, and he just basically was drinking from the age of 13 heavily, like, and that's what it's killed him a bit.
Yeah.
But he hasn't got any real proper. He has got learning difficulties now because he hasn't bothered.
And probably the drink as well.
But if he sits down with someone and goes through it, he can understand it. He's not got any of those sort of problems. No. He's been used to bone honest and people doing everything for him, like cleaning. He thinks that the magical fairies do like his ironing and washing.
He's basically lazy.
Yeah, very lazy.
Yeah.
It's just there's just so many stupid things he does, and you're just like, how have you lived this long? Do you know? Like, he's gone out for a whole day with the shoes on the wrong feet and not noticed. Gone in, like, are you something wrong with your shoes? He goes, "No, it's all right." I go, "You've got them on the wrong feet." He goes, "Oh yes, I have," and then takes them off. And you're like, "What?
That's literally like my 8-year-old daughter.
That's what we're saying. It's like,
how do you act like physically if you put the shoes on the wrong feet?
You know, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it does. It feels horrible.
Yeah.
But he didn't notice. Also, though, he broke his toe. He's afraid of going to the doctors because he thinks the doctors means death. Yeah. And I keep going, but if you don't go to the doctors, it will mean death.
Yeah.
Especially with your condition. He's got a toe and it's actually bent in that way. Snaps. Like, it's literally like a 90-degree angle sort of thing. And I was like, that is badly broken. And he goes, "Yeah, I thought it was." I was like, "Oh, did you?" Just fucking like...
That is badly broken.
He's just...
Dr. Graham will see now.
How has he gone through life this long?
Yeah,
Gone over
sad,
100
really,
times.
isn't it? It's like,
It's taken a sad turn. We had some proper mucky stuff.
We did, and now we're like, boo. But
no, it is sad because he is a person, and he's a lovely guy underneath.
Yeah.
But he's just
got an illness, hasn't he? Basically,
he's just an alcoholic. But it is quite funny sometimes seeing how he survived this long. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, because it can't. His behaviour can be hilarious, can't it?
It's just
a shame the root of it is a problem, isn't it?
Yeah, I took that as a term because I wanted to explain that there is a problem with it.
There is
I don't want to just take the piss out, and there is a serious problem. It's just the thing. I'll probably have to talk about him at some point, and I'll be my award-winning bit, mate. That and the death of someone in my house, that'll work, wouldn't it?
Mr. Wilkes, what's the corniest thing you've ever done for love?
Corniest, I don't really know.
Have you ever done anything for love?
Yeah.
Or just for...
I'll tell you
Or
what.
had someone's done something corny?
Mate, I'll tell you something that was... I don't know if it's classic corny, but it's really... I found it funny because it's still one of those things, things that haunt you for the whole of your life. And it's nothing really, but it stays with you for fucking ever. And you're like, ugh. Every time you think of it,
Shut
oh,
up.
God, what did I do that for?
Yeah.
It's horrible. So there's one of those moments, and there was a girl that I went out with when I was in primary school, so I was probably only about 7 or 8 or something. A girl called Natalie Hoskins, right? I think it was her anyway. I can't remember if it was her.
So
or
many
someone that-
biatches
or
under his
something.
belt.
But anyway,
We don't need to fall in.
I literally went into my mum's room when she was in the shower and I stole her wedding ring, right? Genuinely didn't know it was a wedding ring though. It's worth like a lot of money.
Yeah.
Stole it and gave it to her the next day at school.
my God.
And when she came home with it on her fingers, like, my boyfriend gave me this to her mum. And mum was
Oh
like,
my
that looks like a
goodness
really
me.
expensive wedding ring. Can you give that? Phoned around, found it was mine, and then I had to say sorry to my mum. And I was like, and she thought she had lost the wedding ring. And I was just, it haunts me because I gave someone like a $5,000 ring or something.
Yeah.
It's
And it could have been
it was horrible.
lost.
That's horrible. I was like, who gives them a ring anyway? I'm fucking 7, like.
Yeah, but no, it was a sweet idea that just you had no idea of its monetary value at that point. I think that's romantic.
It stays with me though because I was just like, fuck off. I'm not like that at all.
not?
Even at 7, I wasn't.
Jeez. Yeah, I was probably a little bit older than that, so it's worse. But yeah, I had gone to this shows, I took a different approach to it, thinking, because I went to, it was like a cake decorating shop.
Yeah.
Right.
And they had little decorative plastic but look or feel metal rings. So it's about like £1, £2.
Yeah.
And I bought that. And on Microsoft Publisher, I made a card, print it on A4 paper and fold it up, 4 ways. And I think on the front was just a clip art picture of some hearts, and then inside was some romantic Simpsons picture.
cool.
Oh, picture.
And then typed. It was nowhere near Valentine's Day, but I wrote a Valentine's Day card, and then it was like a bookmark. I put a ribbon over the thing, over the fold, and put the ring on it. And I just kept it in my school bag for like several days. It just got battered because it was months to Valentine's. But I was so excited to.
You needed it there to,
And then I gave it to her on the playground, and then by the end of the day, I bottled it and broke up with her.
That's brilliant.
Oh no!
That's another one that probably haunt you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Oh, I think that I would have been like, oh, that's so sweet. I'm easily impressed though, aren't I, Graham? With like,
Fucking yeah, you're just like, well, you were talking about fucking loving the smell of ball bags earlier. And you love the smell of Mark Dennett's armpit the other day. And when someone says to you something like, oh, can I fuck him in the vagina? You're like, oh, you're so romantic. That's literally the sort of shit you come out with. And I'm like, that's not romance, Mel.
I always had.
You got to slow this down.
Slow it down. I had
Ball bags, armpits.
Well, anything that releases the male pheromone is attractive. Like, I mean, I would lie and sniff my partner's armpit because I find it, like, not like a 3-day-old armpit, but like a freshly sweaty armpit. I find that nice because it's releasing those male pheromones. I'm putting my face in your pit right now.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a good pet.
Thanks very much.
There's a lot of deodorant there, but stop it.
It's girls. I'm wearing girls' deodorant.
It's girls. Look at his face, he's so pleased with himself. But yeah, no, I'm pretty easily, I mean, when I was... How old was I?
Oh, you must have got a corker from Wilkes.
You were in my deaf ear, I missed it, it went right over my head. You are in my deaf ear. Oh no, when I was about... my
deaf ears,
first...
Mr. Wilkes suggests that I might be wearing girls' underwear as well.
Ooh, nothing wrong with that.
No,
No, you're not
You
wearing
haven't got any on, have you? Fucking come on, mate.
Oh, dearie me.
You're not gonna check Mr. Wilkes.
Nah, don't check mine, mate.
It does. It will burn my nostril hairs. No, I'm joking.
So you like an armpit, you like a ball bag.
I never said that because if anyone hears this and it's like, oh no, I don't. But yeah,
I've never said it, but yes, I did.
So how's it? You're sleeping with your partner, like you sort of.
I would sniff his armpit. Yeah, and like I love the
ball bag
hair.
thing. You just sort of burrow your face into his crotch.
like
TV.
motorboat. Yeah, sorry, I'm damaging your equipment.
That's what she says to him
Sounds really
as
bad.
she's motorboating his ball bag. I'm sorry, I'm damaging your equipment. Oh.
It's
Honestly,
just there.
they're
It's just
taking
like
this
the
to
rest. You can't even see. It looks like an eye mask. They're just like just sacks from
I think I think that they are ignored too often, aren't they? I think women are a bit afraid of them, but if
The
they
ball
just
bag, they're ignored.
indulge, just I don't know. Anyway, moving on from the ball bag, I had a boyfriend when I was was how old? And he had a Jersey farm with Jersey cows and what? And I can remember talking about finding weird things attractive and stuff. He was very into his cows. Like I always felt that he had more affection for his jerseys than he did for me. And I would go and help him bed down these calves, put straw in their houses,
Take
and
them
blah
out,
blah
in their
blah.
houses.
Light
the fire for them. Put on a nice bit of Knowles, no deal. Just chuck on, tell him.
But he would this was all the way down Senna and I couldn't drive, so mother and father would drop me off, so I couldn't just go home. And I can remember going down there and he was so into these animals and everything. He would go out for hours on end, like on the farm, and leave me on my own in the farmhouse. His mum and dad didn't like me because I was so much younger than them.
Hell of a date, this.
Yeah, no, listen to the date. This was we went out for a bit of while and
A better while.
we went out for a bit of while. And I remember he threatened me once. Any ex-girlfriends he named a cow after. So somewhere down Senna there's a cow called Mel standing around the fields. And it's true though. It's true.
It's fucking ridiculous.
So when I was in his front room and he'd gone out, his parents had gone out, his mother had baked some fresh bread and she made a proper like farmhouse old-fashioned family, clotted cream all there, and he'd left me on my own. I was really peed off. And I love food. And I can remember watching the Hollyoaks omnibus, and throughout the omnibus I went back and forth to that kitchen and I ate the whole loaf, most of the jam and the cream. And I can remember his mother came in and was like, David, is your girlfriend eating all the bread, jam and cream? And they came up into the front room and I was like, no, covered in the damn stuff. But also, while he'd been out, they'd been like, make sure that fire doesn't go out, because they had an open fire. I was like, no, I'll keep my eye on it. So I stoked it and poked it. A spark came out and burnt a hole in his mum's carpet. And I can remember watching Hollyoaks and smelt this singeing. And I was like, shit, I've burnt a hole in the carpet. So I did the right thing and I pulled the rug over it and never told them.
That's the right thing.
Yeah.
That's the right
And then,
thing to do.
and then I can remember, it ended not long after. I flooded his bathroom as well. I can remember flooding the bathroom.
Fucking hell.
So yeah, we had a pretty rough ride of it.
How do you flush the bar? How do you...
Oh my god! Well, because we were in the caravan and I was only used to the aspirator extreme and that sort of thing, and I had a shower by that age.
We were used to the kind of toilet where it would just go through the hole and then you
Just squat over it. No, I hadn't encountered a shower curtain before though, because the only shower I'd been in had a plastic door. So this shower curtain, I went in and it had all sort of webbed creatures on it. It was obviously a quality thing. It was very thick, very quality shower curtain. I thought, we don't want to get it soaked. I'll put it on the outside of the bath. Because it's a really nice shower curtain.
Oh, it's too good to waste this.
Yeah.
His mother's clearly hung his best bed sheet on here.
Or she got her show towels out and everything. And I thought, well, I'm only going to make a few splashes. And I thought only the top bit of the curtain was required. So I was in there, never ever experienced a power shower. It was amazing. I was like, woo! I was in there ages and I was like, shoo, shoo. And then I was there ages. I used his mum's best squirt and everything.
What, sorry?
I used his mum's best squirt, as I call it, because it's like really posh shower gel. I lathered up. I was bloody loving it. Anyway, time I got out and the steam had filled the room, I pushed the curtain back and of course it was flooded. I got out, slipped over, banged me coccyx. But I tried to mop up the worst of it with like the quadruple quilted quality bog paper, but I was in so much trouble for that. Which is understandable, really. You know,
I went through a phase of 5 times in a year I flooded the bathroom by overfilling the bath, and it was the weirdest thing because each time it happened there was a different reason. But each time, basically, I started around the bath, walked away and forgot about it. One time I'd fallen asleep, so it could have been hours it was running.
God.
And it was like leaking through to the floor below.
It's one of those moments where you just...
Really bad.
Yeah. It's awful. And I put a bubble bar in, because you go to Lush, I love their bubble bars, they're really nice. And I went to quite a nice hotel with my partner, and they had a jacuzzi bath thing. And I don't know why I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I crumbled this bubble bar into the jacuzzi bath and turned the bubble on. Oh, it's that clip, and I was literally buried alive by bubbles. The bathroom was at the tip, and I was like, Chris, and he came in, and I was nowhere to be seen. Yeah, it was awful, and that was a really nice bathroom as well.
It's not water damaging a place, but Gary has on about 7 or 8 occasions, because he's now banned from cooking unless one of us is in the house to watch him.
Oh my god.
Because he's gone and put food on when he's come back pissed, fallen asleep in the front room, and I've noticed the smell, and the fire alarm suddenly going off, and I go downstairs and I'll turn everything off, and it's actually had flames and stuff before coming out, and it's like literally, if we were asleep, if you come back late, the house would have gone up in flames. So I've gone and taken it out, and I've knocked on his door. I've gone, "Are you cooking?" He's gone, "No," because he knows he is.
Yeah.
And yes, he can't be truthful because he's drunk. I go, "You have, haven't you?" And he goes, "You look mad at me, baby." And then you go, "Well, it's on fire." And he goes, "Oh, fucking hell, get up." It'd be like I've left it there to burn the kitchen down to prove a point. I go, "I've obviously taken it off, but can you not cook at night?" We ended up doing it because he'd also come back and it'd be like the middle of summer. For some reason, he'd turn his heater on full, then fall asleep. And the room would be sweltering in there. So we ended up taking the fuse out and he'd still turn it on, think it was fine anyway. And there'd be nothing coming out. So we started doing it with the cooker as well. We'd turn the switch off. He doesn't know there's a switch for a cooker that you turn on to turn it on and off. So we'd turn it off at the top, and then he'd be cooking and he'd be like, I was trying to cook the fish fingers and they were still frozen after an hour. And he'd like, "Oh, no, never mind. I'll try it now." And then I'll go, "It's working fine. I don't. Maybe I'll just cook for you." Like, you know, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, he nearly killed us so many times. It's ridiculous.
I lived with a guy at uni who he'd clearly been like really mothered. He first time living alone, first time like away from his parents, and I was eating in the kitchen one day, and he comes in and he goes, "I just made like a roast for me and a couple of flatmates." He came back from like a few days, and he looked at my plate and said, "Oh, what's that you got there?" That's a parsnip, mate. Oh. He like keeps staring at it like it's a jewel or something.
No, have it.
So I let him try one. He said, "Oh no." He tried it. He was like, "No, spit it out." And then another time he comes and tries to cook for himself, tries to like branch out, and
Just branch out.
he tries to do a jacket potato.
Steady.
And he put the potato in. He'd followed the instructions from my line. It's easy, just like give it a crisscross so it doesn't like explode or whatever what happens to them. Stuck it in the oven, and he came back 10 minutes later and said, "Oh shit, it's not done."
What a fool! Oh my goodness. Yeah, some people don't have a clue though, don't they? They have literally never done anything for themselves.
Well,
though, have they?
Gary's the perfect example. I mean, now that he's been a prick recently to us, because he was a bit of a dick when he got really drunk, and we basically said, "Look, we're not going to do any cooking for you. We're not going to do this. You've got to do stuff for yourself."
Yeah.
He's now eating pot noodles, and that's all he eats is pot noodles. And I was like, I felt really bad, so I've done some food today because that's not a good diet. So he's cooking it, but the first day we were really pissed off, and he'd gone downstairs, turned the kettle on, poured the water in, and then gone back upstairs to go to the toilet. Luke poured a whole bottle of Tabasco sauce in there. It was a beef and tomato one, and he stirs it in like that. Gary goes and eats it upstairs. He comes back down later and he goes, "Fucking hell, boy, you think those Bombay bad boys are hot? Fuck me, beef and tomato, stinging it is stinging." He goes, I was like, and me and Luke were just like, "Oh bloody hell, stay away from them then." He's going, "Oh, Bombay bad boy, you got nothing on this, mate." It's so funny. It's just so stupid. He ate the whole thing though.
Did he?
Yeah.
This guy at uni just lived off pot noodles, and the same guy didn't know how to cook a jack potato. On his birthday, he wanted to do Centurion, so he's going to go out and have whatever it was, like whatever that is, 10 pints or 100 pints, whatever. Can't be 100, but
Must be 10, isn't it?
he would gaffer tape each can after he'd done it, so you have like a tinny.
Oh, tinny! Beg your pardon. Carry on.
So by the end of the evening, you walk around with a staff, basically.
Right.
Of your like own height. So he's walking around. It's his birthday. He comes back drunk. We don't see him until the next morning, and he was clearly had quite a night. So he rolls in about like in the afternoon. So I hope your birthday, and he was sort of explaining it, and he said, "Oh, it's bad this morning. I was went to the kitchen, poured myself a bowl of cereal, went back to bed, was sitting on bed watching TV. I was like, oh." He thought the milk was off because something was stinking.
God.
And he looked over at the side of the bed. Was a big pool of his own vomit from the night before.
No. Oh.
So he thought, "Oh, it's all right. I'll fix this. You clean up yourself." So he vacuumed it up.
Oh, that is revolting. He vacuumed up his own.
He vacuumed up his own puke. So we'd wondered
look at Graham's
the
face.
first time we moved into this flat, we'd start the Hoover and we're like, "Oh, that's fucking stinking."
What? How do we find these fucking muppets?
Oh, you two have. I've definitely
We've
not.
had some bad luck, I realise.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was that bad at the time, but every time I tell one of these stories, I realise, yeah, that's pretty bad. But it came like full circle, like the fucking Lion King, because we'd moved into the flat this stinking vacuum we couldn't use. Changed it, and by the end of the year, we had a vacuum we could use. And then he just vomits it again for the next 10 minutes.
So
Rough as fuck.
So when he hoovered up his own sick, he didn't change the bag or anything, and every time you hoovered, you could smell. I suppose even if he did, you could still smell it. Oh, that is so bad.
We got him to chuck it away, but
you'd better have made him buy the next one.
That is
the girls we live with, and they like he was quite easy to. He's quite vulnerable. He's quite a nice guy, but quite kind of. He was one of those people. I mean, like Gary. People want to kind of help him. So two of the girls we live with went into his room to kind of just try and sort it out a bit, and they saw his bath towel, and it was black with mould, and he was still like drying himself with this thing, but he had. It was his mate.
I just remembered something else.
A girl who would come over and she would just look at him with these puppy dog eyes, and clearly like, mate, she's dripping for you. Like she like was clearly like in love with him, but he wasn't interested. Like proper friend zone.
Oh right, yeah.
But every time she'd come around, she'd just be she'd get him things for his room, because she said the first time I went in there, it was like a cell. It was just like nothing on the walls. He just like.
Barren.
Just slept there, like that's it.
Yeah, you reminded me of Deshko, one of my other mates. He's a funny guy. He's a lovely guy, but he just does silly things. But you just reminded me, because he was saying that gross things. I remember Deshko. What we used to do is, because he would follow everything we did. He would try to, because when we're drinking and stuff, so you would have a drink and you'd go like that, and then he'd think, oh, I've got a drink as well. So he'd try to match each drink for drink. But what we'd do is go like that and just pretend we're drinking. So he'd be like 8 or 9 cans, and we would have had 2, and he'd be pissed at his face before we're going. And I remember he took this sip of drink and he went like that, and he threw up a little bit on his front, but a bit of spaghetti came out his nose. And what I remember is he took that bit of spaghetti and then ate it, and I was like, we were all watching him going, it was horrible. Another time when I watched another time. So the Chris Eubank then, didn't it? Yes. Absolutely brilliant, right? I tell you, I do the whole thing in this.
Eat the spaghetti.
The death girl's coming back. No, the death girl's coming to my house. He was coming to my house for a barbecue and some drinks for my birthday, and all my friends and stuff were out in the front, and we got this thing called Skullator. So it's basically, it's just a beer bomb thing. So you pour it down a funnel and you just drink it. But Deshko, he doesn't handle his drink very well. He hasn't anything to drink yet, but he turns up. Ryan, my mate Macca, they're pouring this drink down, and he's doing that, and Deshko's standing in the other side of the garden, just turning up now, just watching. Everyone's going like chug, like fucking like a bunch of cunts, and Deshko watches Ryan do this beer bong and then throws up. He's not even had a drink. He just seen him do it. He just goes, and watching someone else do it. It made him sick. It was so weird.
I can't bear people being sick near me. People tell you when you have your own children you won't mind that it's okay, and when they're sick you'll be fine with it and you'll cope. I'm hanging out the caravan door on my hands and knees like. Do
you remember me telling you the night about when I threw up on my own cock? Do you remember about that the other day? Did I ever tell you this?
No, I don't know.
Right, so me and Luke, this is a really weird thing to do. Me and Luke decided one evening, we were drinking and we had a bit of a laugh. We thought, let's have a fucking rave in his bedroom.
Oh yeah.
So we turned the strobe light on some drum and bass, and we're just two of us dancing in his room, just with a strobe light flashing. And then Luke's like suddenly stops and just goes and throws up on the floor, and the lights go on, and I'm like, I'm gonna be sick if I see, because sick makes me. It's like
me too.
It's like, it's just weird. It's like yawning.
Yeah.
So he's sick on the floor, and I'm going, oh fuck, I've got to get out of here, else I'm gonna be sick. I was like, oh god. So I went to the bathroom. I was like, deep breaths. Oh god, that's fine. I'm fine now. And I just thought, I'll go for a piss when I miss. So I started going to the toilet. Then I thought about the sick, and I went threw up on my own penis. God. It was horrible. It was all dripping out and ball bag all over my hands.
That's revolting.
It was so horrible.
Oh,
so horrible.
Oh, never mind, Graham.
Yeah. I went on holiday.
I think someone's had that in their mouth.
I went on holiday and I was with my girlfriend. We were staying at this place that didn't have a proper toilet. Had one of those macerated toilets, so it's like a box. It's when it can't go straight to the outside in the. Like,
yeah.
It's a little plug-in thing.
Shit box, I would call it.
Little shit box. That goes when it turns on. So.
I'm to laugh.
So. I've clearly eaten something that's not good with me, and because I'm feeling a bit rough, and I get up in the night, and the people whose place we're staying in, first of all, I've arrived there in the evening, and I've pissed in the toilet.
Yeah.
And I flushed. And then I've gone back a few minutes, and then there's water seeping up all over the floor. So they only live a few doors down, so I went and told them. And this masturbator toilet was broken, wasn't working right. It's not a masturbator toilet.
I had to say it, because if I didn't, it was
They
in
should
there.
make one of them.
Oh, please carry on.
Just a cum taker. A cum taker?
So it's like flush one end and a suction at the top, so you could just have a friend of mine said he loved shitting and wanking. He just loved the sensation.
Smelly wank, innit?
Goodness,
Yeah.
well, that's
I'd never
new
heard that
to
before.
me.
So this time I'm
Just thinking that, right, you could have just the wank masturbated toilet. So it's got a little fucking vaggy thing.
Do you want to say this? Because if you say out loud you can't trademark it, you've got to...
Well, basically, so
right.
You're just giving this
you
to
can
the
basically
world.
fuck a toilet, right? And it just it takes it, but also if you're up for it, it's got a little finger thing. So on the flush lever, it goes up your bum. I was just thinking that Japan are making it, no? Like that's
Tell you
what
what,
Tom
I
says,
really
isn't
want one of those Japanese toilets, not the
Not the Graham
bum
Wilkes
finger.
one.
the one the bidet, the one where they have the
Bidet.
little wand that when you're done, you press a button and it sprays
cleans.
you. Yeah, sprays you.
Oh, nice.
And then it's like a little,
Gosh.
and then it can dry you as well.
Oh, it's a little Japanese man on TV. What are you doing, Wong?
Fucking hell. Fucking hell. So this time I'm ill. The masturbated toilets leak on the floor. It says they've left me, rather than fix it, they've left me with a little handheld mallet because it doesn't. The problem is it backs up.
Right.
He says you've got to whack it with this mallet and it'll turn on and flush away. So in the night I'm not feeling well and I go and I'm like ready to vom.
Oh, you're not well like that. Oh, God.
So it was one of those moments where you got to decide which end you're going to go, whether it's
Yeah.
a mucky front or a mucky back.
Oh, dear
and
me.
I decided to going to come out the front first.
Oh, no.
So I'm properly chucking,
Oh,
and then
poor
I've got to flush and I've got to whack this thing like a whack-a-mole to like flush, bang. And this was 7 times in the night.
Oh,
It
poor
was
you.
rough as
It's
fuck,
distressing
mate.
enough vomiting without having to bang a mallet on a shitbox
When I
at
had,
the same time.
It might
On a
be
masturbated
when I
toilet.
had swine flu when that came round.
Oh, no, did you?
That was bad, yeah. I had that. But you might, because that was basically you stand up, you'd be real dizzy. It's like having normal flu, but a little bit worse.
Yeah.
And you want to be sick, you've got shits, you've got everything going on, and you're really sweating one minute and you're really cold the next. So anyway, so I was lying in bed pretty much all the time, and I rushed out to go to be sick, and I'm completely naked, and I'm just like sweating off me. I'm nearly on the floor, and I just go, "Ugh," squeeze, and a bit of poo goes in the bath. It's fucking amazing. It literally pebble dashed, and I was like, it was just dripping out of each end. That was horrible. Just grand slam.
That's the way to do it though, because when I was there, I was having to. It's kind of at the other end as well, but it's more important. You've got to make the choice in that moment.
in
But
that
what you should really do is just like kneel on all fours in the bath and just let it float.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I think
actually
that's best.
that's a good idea. That's a
we've
good
done
idea.
the most disgusting
Yeah,
things.
but never mind. It's just
But, yeah.
that's where a conversation's
Have you
always
ever
go.
have you ever been sick until have you ever like strained so hard being sick that you've actually got like deaf? Your ears are popped. Or
Yeah.
I
Oh,
did it. I did it
No,
the
not
other
had
week.
that.
I hate vomiting. I have a phobia.
Well, I was ill the other week after that gig, if you remember, where we did Fast Fest, wasn't it? I was
Yeah.
quite ill after that, which is
You
why I didn't
weren't
go
well
to
while
Toast
we
and
were
stuff.
there, no.
Yeah, but that was just me self-inflicted. But afterwards,
Yeah.
it fully came out, and I was sick when I was home, and literally both my ears went like that, and all I could hear was wee for the whole
God.
fucking evening, and I was trying to go to sleep, and I couldn't hear anything else around me. A little bit of muffled noise. It's like
just-
like someone going like that on your ears was all I could hear, like when I was
Yeah.
up against the pillow,
Yeah.
and just this high pitched. Because I got a bit of tinnitus anyway, or tinnitus, or whatever you want to call it.
It's not Tourette's.
No, tinnitus or tinnitus. I
Oh,
said.
sorry.
Fucking yo, shit fuck. Anyway, anyway, what's happened to me? Yeah, and it just literally was squeaking, and it's the whole night, and then that's why I ended up with massive headache, and I was really tired and stuff, and I couldn't do toast and stuff.
You know what that is when you just get the ringing in your ears after a gig or something.
Yeah.
It's because you're. This is science time.
Science.
But your eardrum's like the drum of a drum.
Yeah.
It's like the skin of a drum.
You'd have been such a good science teacher.
And then there's the thing lying on it that is
Yeah.
almost like the.
And the technical terms are down.
Yeah.
It's like the arm of on the needle of a record player.
Righty ho.
But if the skin's flexing too much, could rebound as much and punch through your eardrums.
Puncture
So
it,
instead, it gets to a certain point and like flexes back and stays there. So it's like taking the needle off the arm.
Yeah.
Off the record player, so you were straining so hard that your ear thought "fuck," and just like locked backwards. Yeah,
So that's what it does.
Fucking horrible. But it was really weird because your ears, it also affects your balance. So when I got up in the morning for like 3 hours, because it kind of stopped overnight. I finally fell asleep with tiredness, but I had to get up anyway. So I got up and I was literally stood up and I was like, whoa, like, and I had to hold on to shit to get myself around. It was so bad. I've already got one fucking broken leg. I was like, I think I was going to do the other. I was like falling all over the place.
I heard this interview with an astronaut. Science time again.
Yeah.
This astronaut said the weirdest thing about coming back from space, because you're out there and your brain learns that it can't trust your senses anymore.
Yes.
So it shuts off listening to inner ear about your balance and only uses your eyesight, because normally gravity,
of course, that makes sense actually.
Your inner ear overtakes as your kind of centre of gravity. But he said the weirdest thing coming back from space was your brain is trained to use your eyes instead as your like field of vision. And he said he was in the shower and he closed his eyes and he fell down.
Because he's just completely lost all sense of balance whatsoever.
Yeah,
because his ears had stopped.
Thought he was upside down. I didn't know where he was completely.
I can't remember exactly why, but just a space thing. I found that people, when they go into space, they grow.
Do they?
They grow.
It could basically sort of stretches them and they become like up to 3 inches taller or something, and then they shrink afterwards when they come down to. It's to do with gravity, I think.
They've got to do a ton of cardio. They've got to like do loads of their day is done on exercise because they lose so much bone mass. Like they have brittle bones and like they use muscle mass, and they come back and they walk slightly bow-legged for the rest of their lives when they come back to space.
Oh, sounds like me. When they took my tumour out, they took my inner ear with it because they had to go through it, so I've got no balance nerve in my right ear, which caused me, after I had my op, a complete drunken, couldn't balance at all. I'm still like it now. And in Mum's place, you've got the wash basin and then a wall just jutting out next to it. Well, any normal person would know you turn and be careful of the wall. Because I've got no spatial awareness and no balance, every time I stay at Mum's, I wash my hands and smack into the wall, and Mum and Dad are in bed like Mel's here again. Every single time. But it was the oddest feeling to lose the ability to balance. And having like one ear now, because I'm deaf in one ear, you can't believe, you just think, it's only one ear, but direction finding. I mean, in a multi-storey car park or anything, when my friend parks the car and I've got to try and find it again, she's like, Mel, over here, I'm just turning in circles. Because I can't direction find.
Direction find. Well.
No, I can't.
Can't structure a fucking sentence either, can you?
No, it's the oddest thing. I've got the numbest bum right now. I'm not even going to lie. It's hurting.
The arse is killing.
Yeah. And I'm leaning right into you. I'm draped on you, aren't I? It's distressing. This whole thing has been so distressing for Graham. Talking about piss and poo whilst I'm draped.
Weirdest podcast I've ever done.
That was fun, though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.